Now it's time for our next panel, Behind the Storm, Fortnite's Epic Journey. Please welcome to the stage, Jack from Achievement Hunters.
Hey, what's up, audience? How you guys doing? Am I on yet? Hello, can you hear me? There we go. Awesome. Hello, E3 2017. Hello, Facebook Live. Hello, Los Angeles. How you guys doing today? Excellent, excellent. I am very, very excited to be here today. It's going to be a lot of fun. We are talking about Epic's new game, Fortnite. Great game. I've had a chance to play it. It's going to be available for early access on July 25th for paid for early access, and you can get a 4-day early head start if you pre-order it now. So please, if you would, make some noise for some people here. We got Zach Phelps, the executive producer of Fortnite, and Darren Sugg, the creative director of Fortnite. Have a seat, gentlemen.
How cozy are we?
Yeah, I thought maybe, like that.
Yeah, no, you have to share a seat.
All right.
That's
All right.
we could sit right on top of each other. That'd be ideal, actually.
Whoa, okay.
Oh my!
We're
So,
friends. We are friends. Take a photo of
I think everyone smile. Look pretty out there. All right. Awesome, awesome. How many of you out there is this your first E3?
All right,
Wow.
now we're
Wow.
talking.
Welcome, welcome. Hope you have fun. So you picked the right place to be because it's nice and air conditioned here. So it's hot as hell outside right now. So we're gonna check out some cool stuff. So you guys, you're pretty damn close to the release of your game. You excited for that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I am ecstatic. So I'm super glad that everybody's finally going to be able to play. If you guys want to get in the boat and row around with us and have fun, we are glad to have you. And I'm glad that the time is coming.
Yeah, you're just over a month away until the thing hits. That's exciting. So, well, for those of you who might not know what Fortnite is, we're gonna check out a trailer right now so you kind of get an idea of it. Okay, so let's check out the trailer real quick.
If you're out there, we need your help. The storm came, the monsters followed. They took everything. Our towns, our families. The few of us left are in serious danger. Now, it's time to fight back. All we need is a leader. And that's you. Sure, it'll be dangerous. I mean, yeah, there's monsters. A lot of monsters. But we've got massive forts. Killer traps. And piles of loot. If we stick together, they don't stand a chance. This is our world, and it's time to take it back.
There you go, man. That looks freaking awesome. Make some noise for that. Now, I gotta say, after watching the trailer, where the hell is that loot cave? Because I've played it a bit. I didn't find anything like that yet.
Yeah.
Our players, some of our older players were in this morning asking me exactly the same thing, and I have no idea. So.
Awesome. Okay, so we saw the trailer here. So what would you say? What is Fortnite exactly? Like, what? Explain to someone who might not know what the game is, the type of game. What would you say Fortnite is?
So we refer to Fortnite as a cooperative action builder, and that's sort of like the name we made up because it created elements of third-person action slammed together with fast-paced building. You get to craft, loot, and ultimately build giant fortresses while defending them from awesome monsters. And you get to do it all in a procedurally generated world. So that means every time you're playing, it's always a different experience.
Oh, that's awesome. So like everything changes every time you spawn in, basically. So you might have a completely different experience on a map than I would.
Yep, definitely.
Oh, that's awesome. And so it's also cooperative too. Like you can play it online with friends.
Yeah, it's designed to play with a group of people. You can sort of share the load, decide like what kind of roles people want to play, and then ultimately, even if you're like, sometimes we have people on our team that like to play by themselves. We support that too, but everything's better with friends, right?
Yeah. Well, depending on your friends, I guess. Really.
That's right. You were telling me some experiences about that.
So,
All right.
So so how many of you guys know Achievement Hunter out there? Awesome. So we've already recorded a Let's Play in this game, which was great. And believe it or not, Jeff really trolled the hell out of everyone. which is a thing in this game. We'll get more to that later, though. So now the actual fort. I was talking to you guys before, and you were saying like this game kind of harkens back to like when you were a kid and like building forts to protect yourself, like out of pillows and sheets and boxes and those empty Christmas boxes that nothing was actually in. So no, it's very sad. That never happened. So what was that like? I mean, is that where inspiration was drawn from? Like being a child and protecting yourself from like a younger sister?
Well, it was for me like you said, a lot of people have experiences with the couch forts. I was actually thinking about this as we came out, how crazy we'd be if we started making one. But anyway, or blanket forts, or if you were like me, you had that patch of wood at the end of your street. You got on your bike, you pedaled down there, and you found all these rusty nails and busted 2x4s. I'm not joking. This is a true statement. And you hammer them together, and then you spend all afternoon defending your fort from imaginary creatures. And it was just like an awesome experience, and everybody had it. And then we see that echoing in movies all over the place. Whether you're Harry Potter and The Last Stand against for Hogwarts against all the creatures there, or your Aragorn on the battlements of Helm's Deep. Like, this is something that resonates with everybody, and we wanted to make a game that everybody would be able to craft their own experiences with that.
So you're basically saying you've made Home Alone the video game.
Yes.
Yes, I think that's a fair statement.
There you go. Throw that on the box when it comes out. There you go. Quote me.
We'll put you on your quote.
Okay, awesome. Now the style of this game, it seems very kind of fun, a little bit more kind of like happy, like it's very kind of rounded characters, not super realistic, kind of goofy. Was that a very active thing? I mean, was that your plan in advance, or how's this happen?
Well, the thing is what's cool about Fortnite, across its all development is that we're sort of over an ever-evolving beast. And so initially, the really awesome artists at Epic Games said, hey, we've come off making Gears of War. What would a survival game look like? Brought to you by Epic Games. And so they really made a bunch of concepts, and I think we have some here to show, of the way the world looked in the very, very beginning. And man, it was dark and awesome and super and what you'd expect from those guys. But a bunch of the artists got together and they were like, you know what? We really want to make something more stylized, more colorful. They felt like they really landed that at the end of the Gears of War era, and they really had destroyed beauty down, and so they wanted to try something else. And so Fortnite's evolution continued, and then they began making the sort of new style.
That's cool. So how many developers went from something like Gears of War onto this game? Like how many on your team do you have from those guys?
Oh man, like it's been, the weird thing about Fortnite has just been an evolution. So we've added new blood over time, and some people have moved on and some people have stayed. So it's like the team now is a blend of the awesome guys from back in those days to a bunch of new people that have come on board with tons of new enthusiasm to sort of make the new game.
Yeah. So like you were saying, Epic Games typically are kind of that gritty, realistic feeling. What was it like pitching this sort of like more of a lighthearted fort building game with your buddies, in this kind of more colorful world? I mean, did you have any trouble? Like, did any of the uppers kind of come at you or anything?
By the time I showed up on that discussion, I guess had already been won. I wish Pete Ellis, our art director, was here. He's doing some family stuff this week. He could tell you the gritty nuances of it. But by the time I showed up, we had already moved into that direction. So I think over time, it's actually been a surprise to the players that we would make such a change. And so, but it seems very positively responded to. So.
Yeah, and you guys have been kind of tweaking and working on this game for a long, long time. I mean, I remember personally about 4 years ago at PAX Prime, I actually got a chance to check out like a way, way early build of it, and I remember kind of more of that creepier aspect to it. And it was like the version now is a lot more, not arcadey, but it's a lot more fast-paced, where it's kind of like, okay, you just build your base, get ready. If someone wants to focus on just base building, if you kind of want to set your defenses, like everything's changed a lot, and it's neat to see how sort of things have evolved. I mean, what's sort of the process behind that? I mean, do you guys sit down? Do you react to feedback? How does that work?
So, honestly, a big portion of this has just been playing the game over and over again, both ourselves, but then with our players. And so we've been out there, 2 years plus in online tests, going over and over again, just playing it and getting into the game, playing with the players, getting their feedback, iterating, taking it to the next step. There's nothing that we want more than make something that our fans are going to enjoy.
That's awesome. That's cool that you're listening to your fans too. I mean, we kind of talked about that before. Where it's like you feel now, like I mean, I don't know if the audience here, do you feel like now we can actually reach out to developers and actually be heard by people instead of kind of before it was kind of like they live off in mystical fairyland making video games, but now it feels like you can actually reach out and talk to developers. Is that something you kind of you understand? You feel like, yeah, that's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It matters a lot to us. I mean, we always talk about. I personally talk about the list of all the things, which is all the great ideas that all the community has brought to us, our developers, all the people that are excited about the game. And we really do keep track of an awful lot of that stuff. We're not able to do everything right away, but it goes into the hopper, and you never know like when it pops up. And as an online game and as a game that we're going to continue to develop after we launch, every month we're going to make it bigger. We're going to make more stuff. We're going to get to that stuff as we go, and that's all because you guys care enough to come to us and throw out your ideas and say, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we did this thing? Like, we love for that.
Yeah, I mean, that's something where it's like if I play, it's kind of a range character. I'm like, hey, it'd be kind of cool if you could add a sniper tower, if that was like a built-in asset. I could tweet that or kind of like draw something up, tweet it to you guys, and there's a good chance you would read that and actually respond to it, right?
Guaranteed chance. At the very least, we'd definitely read it. Whether we respond, depends upon if it was like already in plan or not. Sometimes like our players are always coming up with the idea that we just had, it's like, or just ahead of us, right? They're like, hey, what if we had an ability to send our heroes out to be able to go gather and collect stuff while we're offline? We're like, that's an awesome idea. And then like literally 2 weeks later, it's in the game. We'd been developing it for probably the last 6 months. So
it's not just coincidental at that point. But you guys are reacting to immediate feedback though, right?
Oh yeah, all the time. We are changing the economy of the game right now. Whether it's the harvesting rates, how quickly can you get cards? It's like we will continue to iterate based on the data from people playing, and because they care to be there.
So you're saying everything I've already done in the game and worked all those hours is gone now, is what you're saying?
That is true. We are doing one more reset for our paid early access, but then after that, we are not resetting ever again. We will continue to version the game, which means you'll keep all your stuff forever. So yeah, it won't be any more resets. So the guys that have been there playing for 2 years, who I've been playing this game with for about 20 months, that we keep resetting are amazing. The fact that they will put up with it, we've reset their progress, and then they do it all over again, and I am just like amazed that they're putting up with us. So I appreciate all of it.
Well, there's something to be said about having a fresh start too, because you always think like, okay, the next time I play, I know how to get through those first early levels really quick now, or like I know some techniques that work a lot better and stuff. So now let's talk a little bit about the heroes in the game, because the one thing I really loved about the game is the fact that there are different heroes which all have kind of different classes. Like some are more for building, some are more for attacking, some are more kind of like a general assault character where they can kind of do everything. So where did that come into play? Like when did the whole idea of like different heroes or different things?
I think our heroes, we began experimenting with basically class-based versions probably about, 3 years ago actually. But I think the modern version of the heroes really came to fruition about 10, 11 months back. And these new heroic, the guys here can see, the new heroic characters made their appearance, and we've got 4 archetypes for them that all the classes are based out of. Your constructor, which amplifies building. It lets you auto repair walls, reflect damage back to the enemies. Then we've got the outlander, which is our explorer character. They have the ability to see loot through walls and generally gather materials quite quickly. Our soldier, who's our badass with AoE grenades and can summon a chain gun as one of their character abilities. And then ultimately we have our ninja, which is our fast-moving melee class that can sort of double jump into combat, just drop some smoke bombs, eliminate artillery units, and then bail out all while looking cool doing it.
Nice. Now I have one question for you. The guy on the far right, how do we get glasses on that dude? Because he looks a lot like me. If we can get an Achievement Hunter logo and glasses on him, I think you've got a perfect game.
Probably
we can do it.
Can we make that happen? Okay, you guys heard it here first. We
can get him, and we can even name him. Achievement Hunter.
Oh, really?
Yeah, totally.
If we could name him
We get the
Jack,
card in there.
that'll be it. That's
Like,
game over.
Yeah, done.
All right, Paul, you guys heard that. There we go. Done. It's happening.
Feedback noted.
Now, remember, if you're on Facebook Live right now watching, you can go ahead and send some questions in as well. These guys will be answering questions for you. Now, So you've been doing early access for this game. We were just kind of talking about that before. So how does that affect sort of what you're doing with the game? I mean, like this is a really interesting concept because you have paid early access, and then next year the game's going to be free for everyone. So kind of this early access group is going to help decide the path of the game before it hits the market. Also, the fact that this will be a free to play game, that kind of pisses me off because when I was a kid growing up, we had nothing free. The only free games we had were like you'd find a deck of cards somewhere and have to come up with a concept of game. But anyway, that being said, this looks beautiful, and you get to play this for free is great. So, bringing it back around, early access. So, what's it like working on an early access title?
It's like I said. I think the thing that's cool is that everybody who shows up at this stage and who wants to be part of the early access on whether it's on consoles or PC, they get to contribute to it, and they're every time anybody gives you money for your games, it's an act of faith. They're saying, I really hope that this game is awesome and is fun. And, we really try to have as much respect for that choice as possible. Like, we like to treat our community pretty well with regards to that. And so I think that act of faith is really important to us. And like we said, people are saying, well, why are you doing this right now? And it's just like, well, we want people always ask us to get in. This is a good way for us to do it. And we're just telling people, hey, next year in 2018, if you're not willing to, if you're not ready to get on board in the boat, I guess is the way I say it, hang out for 2018. We're going to be free for everybody. But if you're hardcore and you want to get involved in this process and be part of the community right now, this is your opportunity to. And so it's a way to shape the game.
Yeah, to me, this is the first time in my career where we've been able to participate with our players in the most meaningful way ever. Like getting their feedback now in this online test period, but then expanding it out to anyone that wants to give us feedback. Like, we're in global chat, we talk to our players, we listen. It's incredibly intense and stressful. Like, constantly having those eyes on you, and the feedback is almost always like, no matter what, it's always heartfelt, negative or positive, it's always heartfelt, right? And so getting that now before we go into this next phase is amazing. Calling it early access is just our way of being really clear the game's not done. We're still working on it, and we're working on it with feedback from everyone that wants to be involved.
So what is your what sort of meetings do you guys have? Like, do you have like, here's a bunch of Twitter suggestions we got, here's what our forums are saying? Like, how active are you in actually responding to comments and feedback from the audience or from the crowd?
Normally it's a forwarded email from Darren directly from our players right into our team that says, get on this, guys, right now, fix it.
I generally spend, and I think as we get more people involved, it's going to be harder and harder for me to do one-to-one responses in the way that probably I'd been able to now. But I read, I stay up late, I read all the feedback channels. There's a little button in the corner of the game right now, and we're going to continue to have that where you can go in and you can type your feedback and you can say a bunch of stuff, and it comes in and it ends up in my email box, and I do go through and I read it, and sometimes I'm like, man, this is awesome, and sometimes I'm like, holy crap, we have a lot of work to do, but that's okay.
Well, what's the most I don't know, extreme piece of feedback you've gotten that you were like, what the hell is this person thinking?
Man, the most extreme piece of feedback,
or kind of off the wall, maybe.
The off the wall is usually like, it would be awesome if like I could completely fly into around the world and then teleport and then get drop bombs that do like that harvest all at once. Like, it's literally like that level of like, and you're like, well, I don't know how to respond exactly to that kind of feedback, but I mean, and some of the harshness is like, I think actually I love hanging out with you guys. So, by the way, I have very little filter when it comes. When I'm in the chat room with people, I say all kinds of stuff. So I'm going to say something. It's just, they're like, why aren't you making the next Gears? Like, I'll get that every now and again. And I was like, yeah. So I there's just random stuff that comes in. Like, it's funny, but it's like, hey, it's cool.
Yeah, I'm sure literally everyone working on Fortnite, that's the entire team that would be making Gears instead, right?
Yeah, it's not quite how it works in this age, but it's just funny because people want what they want, and to your point, everybody wants to be heard. That's the best we can do.
Absolutely. And like you said, like, you're still kind of a smaller, I mean, your team with an Epic's it's small. So it's like it's very flexible. I'm sure a lot of everyone is involved with the process of making the game. I'm sure everyone wants to make the best game they possibly can. Whereas you see some larger games, you've got seven different groups around the planet working on one game and different elements of it. A little bit trickier to kind of tie it all together. But I'm sure if you guys are all in the same room or all in the same building, that's got to be the way to go, right? Or at least for a game like this, it's got to be the way to go, right?
Sure, I guess. Yeah, I mean, we work with a bunch of different people at all in all different spaces. So
The feedback's always the feedback, no matter where it comes from.
wherever it comes from, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Actually, let's get some right now.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. You guys want to do some feedback? You guys have any questions in the audience?
Yeah, let's do it.
Who wants to ask our guys here, Darren and Zach from Fortnite? It's been a lot of fun playing it. Here we go, right here. All right, we have a mic coming your way, so you'll be able to be heard on the stream. So say hi to your friends on Facebook Live. And also, again, if you're on Facebook Live, we're taking questions too. So feel free to ask them over there. Hi.
Hey, you said the game's going to be free to play. Do you know what the revenue model is going to be like, or have you decided that yet?
Revenue models, all right.
Yeah, all right. So I love these questions. These are my favorite. No, really, they are. I'm glad people care. So we are effectively a card pack game. We use piñatas, but basically players can acquire in-game currency. They can either play and earn it, or they can go to the store and buy it. And then they purchase these card packs and schematics, items, heroes, all kinds of cards come out of those packs. And that we're basically relying on that as a place to start from the free-to-play model, and then for Founders Packs, we're just giving you tons of those stuff in advance.
Yeah, and specific cards in the Founders Pack model. So that's where we're going to start, and then we'll iterate forward. We know players want to be able to have more determination in sort of how they find things in the game, and so there's definitely going to be quests and other things as we go into this next year, where we're going to have these awesome events that allow players to really directly get to certain items that they want.
Cool. So where did piñatas come from?
It was basically somebody. So, well, go ahead. Do you want to we had okay. So somehow one of our concept artists, they came up with some amazing pieces of art. One of these things was a piñata. We put it into the core game where you strike this thing and resources fly out of it, and you get all these items on the ground. You pick them all up and you get resourcing, right? So it was cool. It was fun. Players loved it. This is like a perfect example where players were just like, this is so fun. It's so awesome. So then we got into, hey, what are we going to do for our loot boxes? And somebody was like, I know, let's put a loot box in the game. And we're like, okay, and they drew up the box, and it was a cool box, but it was a box. And then somebody else was like, what if we use the piñata from the core game and put this in there? And then, of course, the artist made this awesome-looking piñata. We're going like, dang, man, that'd be weird. Yeah. That would be awesome. Like, why don't we do it? And then everybody was like, no, we shouldn't do it. And we're like, no, let's do it.
And I was like, okay, we can do it as long as they talk to you. So our piñatas, they talk to you. You can click on them. They say funny things. You can just keep poking them, and they'll eventually say more things. I have it in. I'm going to say this for the world. I have it in my heart that one day we'll make a piñata called the Jaded Game Developer Piñata, and you guys can just poke them and then smash it, and loot will come out of it. That's what I'm hoping for in the long run of Fortnite.
I want to see that. Yeah, hitting the piñata is something that's very, very nice about that. Very stress relieving. Any more questions in the audience down here? How about right here? I don't know where our microphone is, but there, right there.
Hello. So I know it's supposed to be a cooperative kind of game. So out of curiosity, is there going to be any like PvP aspects where team versus team, or is it just up against environment and zombies?
All right. So PvP or PvE strictly.
So yeah, I think the way we'll end up is we will end up doing probably PvE competition. Obviously, the game is ripe for fortress defense. So you can see how many waves you can live through, how many resources you can't spend. I think that's where we're going to start. We have experimented with PvP modes in the past. However, we have a pretty high bar. Probably you can tell, how long it takes us to bake stuff. So I'm not sure when that's going to come out, but it wouldn't surprise me that in somewhere in the next 5 years, there's some awesome PvP thing that comes out.
Just wait 5 years. It'll be great.
I can't, I like to be clear.
Maybe 10.
All right, there you go. All right, so again, the game is coming out. It's going to be early access, paid early access, July 25th. You can pre-order, though, for a 4-day head start. And it's coming to what platforms will it be on?
Epic Launcher, PC and Mac, Xbox One, PS4.
Wow, so damn near everything. That's fantastic. So, well, thank you very much, Zach and Darren. Make some noise for these guys. Check out Fortnite.
Everybody. Thank you.
It's a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Enjoy E3.